Anywho, developed an eating disorder, bulimia, and then got into drugs and alcohol. So I started with alcohol and then got into pot and smoking weed, and then that transitioned pretty quickly into ecstasy. So I would do drugs and all kinds of crap, man. Pretty much, if you can get into it, I was in it. And so then I guess maybe it was my sophomore year of college that I really wanted to change my life. Like I wanted to kind of slow my roll a little bit, like drink a little less, do drugs a little less. And then that fall of my sophomore year, I was raped on campus by a guy that I knew. And so that just triggered everything right back into, hardcore partying, hardcore everything. And again, pretending like that happened and I never spoke about it. I went to work the next morning as if nothing had ever happened because I knew how to do that. I knew how to just put it back in some file cabinet, wherever that is. I don't know where the file cabinet is, but put it really far away and pretend like it never happened. And then I continued on with my life. I got into a relationship about 6 months later with a guy, and that relationship actually helped me at least slow my roll concerning drugs and alcohol and partying and that sort of thing, because he wasn't into that. So for a temporary time I could change for him. And so I stopped doing drugs and stopped drinking so much. And then I decided I wanted to move to LA. I was all done, just wanted to get the heck out of there. And so I made plans to move. And 2 weeks before I was about to move, I found out I was pregnant with his child. And then I called an abortion clinic that evening. It was like 11 p.m. and they actually were open, which is crazy. Scheduled an appointment for the next morning. I found out I was pregnant in a Texaco bathroom, just to give you my context, like a gas station bathroom, because I did not have a friend that I could go to and that I felt I could be honest with. And it wasn't because I didn't have great people in my life. It was because I had never learned that it's okay to have needs and it's okay to have wants and it's okay to actually have a reciprocal relationship. I had never learned that. And so I found out I was pregnant literally in a Texaco bathroom, and the next morning went and had an abortion. And I told my boyfriend at that time, I never want you to speak to me about this again. I do not want you to ever bring it up to me. And then I moved to LA and never talked about it again. I started feeling like everything was better. I was like, okay, this is great. Nobody knows me out here. They don't know Ashley the athlete. They don't know Ashley the academic. They don't know Ashley the all-star A-type. They don't know me at all. So I can be whoever I want to be, and the pressure's off. And so that worked for about a month. But as you know, everywhere you go, there you are. Unfortunately. So I was like, okay, well, all the same issues of crap are still here. This is awesome. And I ended up not being able to find a job in LA. I did not realize you needed a PhD to wait tables, because everyone is out here acting and everything else, so you got to be like all-star everything just to get a waitressing job, which in my hometown, there's just my whole context, or even where I went to school, you were like, everybody who was waiting tables is like 18 to 20, like 21 maybe. And so it was very difficult to find a job, but I ended up getting a job at the PF Chang's at the Beverly Center because I had worked at a PF Chang's back home. And the manager knew my manager back home, so they hired me immediately on the spot. 5 people on that staff went to the Oasis, and only one of them was a crazy Christian. And I thought, like, these are really great odds, like 4 out of 5, I might get down with the church. And then also they were just good people. They would come out with me at nighttime. I would party. I would do all kinds of crazy stuff, and they would drink Diet Cokes and sometimes drive me home. And for the first time in my life, there were men in my world who did not have a desire to sleep with me, like genuine motives. They did not want any sort of sexual relationship with me. So it was the first time in my life that men actually treated me like a sister. So I was like, man, there's something to this Jesus that I don't know, the one I didn't grow up with. And I ended up coming to Oasis for the first time. And I thought I had walked into a commercial. I was totally freaked out. I grew up Southern Baptist, the only Christian in my family besides my great-great-aunt Fairy, but I walked away when I was a teenager. And so it was the first time I'd ever seen something where you could raise your hands in worship. I actually stopped going to worship the first 6 months I was at Oasis because I just thought it was so weird. Like, why are they doing this? The music is too loud. I hate all the drums. Like, they're raising their hands. These people are weird. But I liked the messages, so I would just come. This church service at that time was 12:30, and I would come at 1 to skip the whole thing. And my friends from the restaurant would save me a seat. But I guess the third time I came to Oasis, I think it was about that time, I heard Christine Kane speak and share her story. And it was the first time I'd ever seen a woman on the platform, because I didn't know women had a place in church unless it was literally, in the kids ministry, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's the only thing you could do where I was from, is like teach the nursery, or quilt with the old ladies, So it's like, not fun. And so it was the first time I'd ever seen a woman speak in church, but then she also began to share her story. And I'm sure there are many of you in this room who have heard it about her abuse and the things that she experienced and the things that she went through. And God didn't strike her dead, which I was so thankful for. And I realized, well, God, if you can do that for her, she seems like a really normal person, then you could probably do that for me. And that's the day I gave my life back to the Lord. So I started on the recovery journey. Like I said, at Oasis at the time, we didn't have any recovery type things, but we did have this class called Monday Night Solutions. And in that was a time of teaching, a time of prayer, a time of healing and deliverance. And God began to do radical things in my life. And I got set free from a lot of things, but I wasn't the type of person who got set free like miracles. Some people do that. I quit drugs pretty easily, but everything else took a long time, particularly the eating disorder. It took me a very long time. So I know what it's like to struggle, and I know what it's like to have to work out the pain in your life, and I know what it's like for God to deliver you and then for you to have to walk out that deliverance, and they're two totally different things. And so I'm well aware of that hard journey. And I'm so thankful for it. I wouldn't change it, because that's the reality of most people we come into contact with. Most people don't have the miracle story. You know, they just don't. That's the hard reality. And that's also the beautiful part of knowing Jesus, because he's always with us in our pain. And so for that, I'm very, very thankful. And fast forward a lot of years. I've had 500,000 jobs since I've been in LA. I've done a whole lot of things. You know, I met my husband in church 4 years ago. 4 or 5? I have no idea. We've been married 4. I met him like 5 or 6 years ago at Oasis. There it is. He was in the choir. At the time, I was one of the choir directors. And so that's how we initially met. And at first, I was like, no. I can't believe I married a white man. Like, I'm just like, I don't even date white boys. Like, not ever. Anything else was on the table. No white boys. And on top of it, he was Christian. He came from a really good family. I was like, oh no. Your family's going to fire me the first time they meet me. Like, it's never going to work. But I could not have misjudged him more. It turns out he's a white man with soul. So I'm very thankful for that. And he was all the things I didn't know I wanted. And I did not realize, I thought that because I'm such a strong person, I thought that there would, the type of strength I needed to come under, I thought was much more dominant. And it isn't. He just served. Like Cody's the type of person, I'm sure you've seen him if you know him. I mean, he's always the first person there and the last person to leave. He'll do the job that no one else wants to do, and he doesn't care. And the stupid part about it is that he's so gifted. Like, he could literally do anything, but he'll be like, sure, I'll be in the parking lot, I'll do these chairs. And it's like, he's the most creative human you ever met in your life, and he has no boastful bone in his body. And so the way that he loved me was serving me. And so that did a great deal of healing in my life. And we just had our first baby 6 months ago. So that's really exciting, yeah. And I'm on staff at Oasis, and so that's been a ride too. So I'm so thankful to God for all the different things that he's done in my life. And he awakened in me such a passion for justice, and I feel my life calling is to the poor and the marginalized. And I didn't always know that. I think it took me, just until about 4 years ago to figure that out. So there's things that are locked up in us that we just won't know until we do them. There's things and giftings and talents on the inside of you that you just have yet to discover. And that's also the exciting part about walking with Jesus. So yeah, I have a great friendship community. I love my friends. I love the relationships that I have. So yeah, it's been a ride. I still have struggles, still have pain, still have issues, and nothing I share with you tonight is like, I've been there, done that, I got it all figured out. It's like, no, I have some wisdom and experience, and it's been really costly, to be honest. And so that's really what I'm going to share with you guys tonight. Yeah. So good. Yeah.